When Booker T. Washington wrote these words over 100 years ago, he was describing to me BLM today. He says, and I quote, "There's a class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public."
All right, here's a karma story. Ready for it? Black Lives Matter in trouble. So, the attorneys general in California and Washington state, two uber liberal states, have said that Black Lives Matter is delinquent in financial disclosures for the year 2020. Okay? And they are demanding, those attorneys general, that BLM pony up and tell them how much money they took in. If you can believe this, in 2019, the IRS reports that BLM filed a tax return showing no revenue. Now we know they got about $90 million, and we know the president of the organization had to quit because she bought $1 million homes with no discernible income.
All right, guys, so it has been a rough few weeks for the alleged criminal enterprise known as Black Lives Matter, because this organization is under a microscope, as people have had questions about this organization for a long time, mainly when it comes to financials. They raise millions of dollars, probably hundreds of millions. Maybe the cause in and of itself, Black Lives Matter, raised billions of dollars during 2020 after the whole George Floyd incident, right? And this organization, Black Lives Matter Global Network, being, I guess, the biggest organization there is, right? The front man for pushing the communist woke ideology. They received a bulk of those donations, right? So we know that this organization, again, received a significant amount of cash, but we haven't seen a return on investment because, quite simply, nobody knows where the money went.
I just read the Washington Examiner report that said millions are unaccounted for. After all, the three original Black Lives Matter leaders have currently resigned. The amount given was 60 million. 60 million, I believe, is probably far more. If there's no accountability within Black Lives Matter board, and if there's such shadiness within the organization over all the money, then you can bet there's even more money that's being hid. What angers me is how disrespectful and selfish Black Lives Matter is. They claim to care about Black people more than anyone, but where are they? I don't see them around here.
The Washington Examiner reporting that the Black Lives Matter organization is halting online fundraising after facing scrutiny for missing financial records. The California Department of Justice threatening to hold the foundation's leaders personally liable if they fail to disclose details of the $60 million in donations. What do you know right now about these developments?
Right. So Black Lives Matter is a public charity. That means that they have an obligation to disclose basic information about their finances to the public, information about their leadership, and information about where they actually reside. And Black Lives Matter has provided none of that information. Information on their 2020 finances, a year in which they closed out with $60 million in their bank accounts, is months late. We tried to go to their Los Angeles address. My colleague did last week, and was told by a security guard that Black Lives Matter has never had an office here.
From the Toronto Sun, since May of last year, when former director Patrisse Cullors stepped down as director of Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, or BLM-GNF, BLM has allegedly had no one in charge of its finances. While confusion reigns, Cullors and her wife are being accused of possible financial impropriety, including a transfer of funds to finance a community center for BLM Toronto. Cullors' own financial status, which includes houses she has purchased, is under the microscope. She is associated with other charities and is alleged to receive payments from those charities. For example, New York Magazine reports that one prison reform charity Cullors founded received a $1.4 million grant $205,000 of which was paid to a consulting firm owned by Colors and her spouse, Jana Khan.
The chapters of BLM, the individual chapters, they have not received any money. Okay, they've been arguing with the national chapter about how they're not getting any of the funds. The communities, the towns, the cities that BLM has helped destroy by pushing their narrative that white cops out here indiscriminately killing black folks and that this country is systemically racist, they haven't seen any of the money from BLM. And the families of the mostly dead black men that BLM has raised a fortune off of, they also haven't seen any of the money as well. So again, people got a whole lot of questions. And the questions started to really ratchet up after reports came out that the founder of BLM, Miss Patrice Cullors, had went on a spending spree buying lavish homes in affluent white neighborhoods.
The state of Washington and California have recently notified Black Lives Matter that, hey, if you guys want to operate in our state, then you need to submit your financial information. Until you do so, you are not to solicit any contributions from citizens of our state. Washington warned Black Lives Matter in a letter a few weeks ago that you could face fines upward to $2,000 per violation. And California said that we will hold the leaders and everybody that's in charge of solicitation at Black Lives Matter personally accountable if you don't submit your records within 60 days. So yesterday, Black Lives Matter took the extraordinary step, and they announced that we're going to pause all online fundraising as we get our registration issues sorted out. But this is some breaking news from just before I came on air. It turns out that Black Lives Matter is still accepting donations from their Act Blue donation pages.
Will California and Washington State prosecute them? Probably not. Federal government could. But under Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, I think they will. But BLM knows it's in trouble. That's for sure.
From Yahoo News, who controls Black Lives Matter's $60 million war chest? Cullors stepped down from her role as executive director of the activist group's Central Foundation last year amid questions about her finances. Cullors was questioned intensely on a series of real estate investments and property purchases, leading to criticism for her perceived opulence while claiming to be a Marxist. After Cullors resigned, BLM told the media that 2 new leaders would hold co-executive positions of leadership moving forward, which never happened. Quote, although a media advisory was released indicating that we were tapped to play the role of senior co-executives at BLM GNF, we were not able to come to an agreement with the Acting Leadership Council about the scope of our work and authority, close quote, wrote Makani Themba, one of the announced executives who never assumed office. The statement alleged to also represent Monifa Bandali, the other proposed BLM senior executive.